Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Wiki Delhi Mentoring and Skill Council. This is Priya Bhardwaj, your host for today. The impact of sexual harassment of female workers and the optimal response to sexual harassment are increasingly subjects of popular academic debates. As society attempts to balance gender equality with self-expression, people need to be educated on such topics so that they can take appropriate steps against it. Today's session is about sexual harassment, which will be taken by Miss Neha Shimali ma'am. So, introducing Miss Neha Shimali ma'am, she's a Dale Carnegie trained trainer and Oscar Murphy Life Strategies certified psychometric interpreter and trainer, certified POSH enabler, Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013, and POSCO Act 2012, which is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, and certified anti-money laundering investigator. Neha brings 9 years plus of rich experience in the banking and financial services industry to her passion for training and psychometric assessments. For POSH programs, she is also a resource person with the Ministry of Women and Child Development. With the help of her mentors in academics and in the corporate life, she discovered her skills of convincing and getting connected with people, thereby influencing their lives. After exploring herself, she realized her true potential and a natural flair of impacting others' lives. And since then, her purpose became to empower others, making training a methodology for this change. In December 2016, she stepped out of the corporate life and started her journey in training as an entrepreneur. A single parent blessed with a loving and caring son, after going through a decade-long journey in corporate world, now open to explore herself as an entrepreneur, awaiting an adventurous yet rewarding career ahead. So I would like to invite Ms. Neha Shimali ma'am to take this session further.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you. Radhika, can you please share the PPT? So, as introduced, and the topic said that we are going to talk about something very important that pertains to women. Well, we all are working women, and we expect a certain kind of safety, security, and a protection wherever we go and work. Uh, on the onset today, I would start with just a sentence that the safety of women is of utmost importance in a society, be it professional place or personal place. So it is very important to make women aware of their vulnerabilities towards sexual harassment. And this is possible only when we make them aware of the act, of the the possibilities that they are so much open to, and what all they can do to help themselves. So this is a mechanism which has made to help women safeguard themselves from the sexual harassment they face or they might face at their workplaces. Now, this is called POSH Act 2013, a law made by Supreme Court to safeguard working women. We are going to talk about the POSH Act today, and this is the 3 day series, and we will be completing entire act in 3 days program. In the first day program today, we will talk about the law, the genesis, how it came into being, and what does it mean. Okay. And in the second session of it, we will talk what the harassment constitutes, how can be identified, and what we can do if we face the harassment. And in the third part of the session, we will get to know that if we face a harassment, what can be the redressal mechanism to help ourselves, or if we see some women facing this, we can also help other women to face and make them safe at their workplaces. So what the law says comes in the next 3 days. Okay, so to start with today's program, I would like to introduce with a complete name. This law is named as the Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, Act 2013, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal. Well, as the name suggests, this law talks about the prevention of sexual harassment, the prohibition, and the last step comes redressal. So today we will talk about the genesis and the purpose. Can we move to the next screen, please? Yeah. Well, I do corporate trainings on POSH, and POSH is a mandatory thing and for all the organizations where there are 10 or more employees. And this is a law which is mandated by Supreme Court of India. So this law very much pertains to the Constitution of our India, and hence we women can be happy to know that yes, we have our rights protected in the Constitution of India, and to live our life with safety, security, and fearless at our workplace is our right given by this country of India. Yeah. So when we talk about the corporate trainings or the awareness program, this is the only training that is mandated by law. There are so many other compliance trainings and other kind of training which depends on the willingness and need of the company, but this is something which stays out of the purview of willingness because this is mandatory and every company has to do this. Next, please. Well, the companies that have not taken care of their sexual harassment policies or have failed to constitute IC committees. What are IC committees? Of course, we'll be discussing in the next session. So they have failed to constitute IC committee, which are the redressal mechanism of POSH, the sexual harassment cases. Those companies have been penalized with lot of high penalties and have cost to millions of amount. So this has been taken very, very seriously by the companies. Now, next, please. Going forward, I'll just give you a small screenshot that will give you a small picture of what is the status of sexual harassment and how we are affected, how we are connected to it. Well, sexual harassment, this is a chart which shows the Nifty 50 companies and the sexual harassment complaints that happened in FY20. If you see these figures, you will get to know how many companies have zero complaints. There are certain which have moderate number of complaints, and Wipro being some 125 as the number says. Now, these are the numbers that have been noted and the complaints have been, filed. Now, there have been so many sexual harassment cases which are not even voiced out because we women have a lot of threats in the society in personal or professional careers that maybe we don't muster our courage to share our problems, to speak up and to raise voice against wrong. Next, please. Now, there's a simple study that shows that sexual harassment has spared nobody. Even the men are being harassed sexually. But of course, women being vulnerable much more than the men here. And since we know that this is that since centuries, I mean, since the existence of Earth, this Earth has been a male-dominating land. Okay, and till today, maybe situations with the time and dynasties and eras, situations have gone up and down, but eventually one thing has been very common in all the times that women have been more vulnerable to sexual harassment in their lifetime. And this shows the 80% and 41% shows that yes, we are very much vulnerable to this. Next, please. Now, again, 40 to 70% of women say that they have been harassed, and 10 to 20% men says that they are harassed. That means the women are 3 times more vulnerable to men. Next, please. So this is the simple statistics that shows the picture where we are. Okay. Now, India INC in FY 1920 reports 14% rise in sexual harassment cases. This is in FY 1920. Now this is 2020. Now this is how things have gone like this. Now in the next screen, please. Now, in this COVID scenario, there have been many folds of such kind of cases because things have moved to virtual platforms, and it has become very easy just to scroll the fingers on the keypad and write anything or send anything to anybody. So there have been so many cases where female colleagues in their offices have been facing sexual harassment much more than they if they used to face when there was a physical office space. Okay, so it's not the work that has moved to home, it is the harassment and other challenges also that have moved to home. Okay, now it's not dark everywhere. There are many organizations that conduct sexual harassment programs and the POSH programs, sexual harassment awareness programs for their employees, and they just try to make their organization a wonderful culture to work there. And this is how maybe some of the efforts that make a company a dream company. Many of the women here are working and maybe as a freelancer or as contractual ones or as the consultants or as full-time job women. So POSH is something that applies to each and all of us. It's just that we are women and we are working. Hence, we all come under the purview of POSH. If you are working in some organization, your organization must be conducting this kind of program. If yes, you're the lucky one, you are in a good organization. Congratulations. Well, if not, I'm here to help you out anytime, and I'll make you aware of what exactly a sexual harassment constitutes of, what is harassment, how can you prevent it, and what are the measures if you feel something you can take care of. So let's move forward with this. Next screen, please. Okay, so why the sexual harassment has been such an important thing in companies even, because harassment could be ignored by saying that it is our personal problem. If I am facing some harassment, it is me who has to take care of. Why would company be bothered about it? Why should my organization do these kind of training program? Why should I be concerned about creating all of you the knowledge, the awareness of this program? Why should I do this? So there is always a why behind every act. Okay, act means every activity. Okay, there is always a why. If we identify that why, the journey becomes much more easier, focused, and goal oriented. Okay, so if whether it is our life or a single activity, we should know the why behind that. Now, the why of sexual harassment and the prevention measures talks about the impact that sexual harassment has. Okay, so what all sort of impact it is, it can be put into eventually into these five kind of buckets. First, let us talk about the emotional impact. See, when somebody undergoes a harassment or a bad behavior, yeah, or some kind of insult, intimidation, which hurts the dignity and self-respect of a woman, of course, it impacts emotionally like anything. And emotional pain is something that is most difficult to be healed. Yeah, the physical wounds can be healed up, but social impact is something, the emotional impact is something that we actually cannot run away, because it happens something within us and we cannot run away from ourselves. So social impact makes us depressed and many other mental traumas and all. So this is the most harmful impact. Then we have also seen the physical impact of it. The physical impact, when somebody touches you or inappropriately or see you inappropriately, something like that, it gives a physical impact. And or maybe there have been cases which have been so violent kind of sexual harassment where females have been hurt physically as well. Now, coming to social impact, why in every eye of the social impact or social society, females have been so much vulnerable. Nobody says whatever men does. But if something happens to female, all the eyes are on female, and we know this very well. We all advocate that this has to change, but has it really changed? It has been so many decades. Maybe something here and there, but it is eventually the female that has to, take over everything on her. So the social impact is also very dangerous, wherein maybe the friends and relatives, they all say, "Tumhari kuch galti hogi, tumine kuch kiya hoga." Why is it that females are not trusted as daughters, as wife, as sister, or something? There are many few families who say that, "Acha, सामने वाले ने कुछ किया होगा, you be safe." No, तुम कहाँ पे थी, तुम क्या कर रही थी, तुम वहां क्यों थी, तुम उसके बाद क्यों कर रही थी? So these are kind of thing are so much so into our country till today that it really become difficult for us, that once on the one side we are handling our own problem, and other side we are handling this kind of unwanted gyan of the family and relatives and neighbors and god knows who all come into the picture. So social impact is something that actually is very much feels us very much devastated. Now it is these are the impact that we individually face if harassed. Now there are something that company also faces, the organizations also faces on a macro level. So first three impact were the micro level impacts, and the last two are the macro level impact. Now, when the female employees in the companies are not happy, the productivity of the company, the environment also of the company also get hampers. Okay, no company can grow if the employees are not growing, and no employee can grow if the company is not growing. So the growth of the company depends on healthy and productive employees. Okay, demotivated workforce can lead the company nowhere, and it would become very challenging for the company to cope up with the demotivating workforce on the profit graph. Now, high absenteeism. Of course, we never want to stay at a place which doesn't make us feel happy, wanted, welcome, and comfortable. Nobody wants to. So, if we are facing some problem in the office space, how can we be happy there? Why would we would like to stay there? So, high absenteeism is a problem that the company faces when there is a harassment challenges in the culture. And let me tell you one thing, ladies, that sexual harassment is not a activity, single activity. Harassment is a culture. Yeah, it is in the psychology of the employees. It is inculcated in the psychology, which doesn't turn around just in one night. That okay, he just saw a female standing alone and something cropped up into mind, and he did something bad. Okay, it's not like that. It is in the psychology inculcated in the grooming or maybe certain surrounding, and which conditioned his brain like this, or our brain to be timid and shy. Yeah, these have been the upbringing issues, or maybe the culture, the tradition that we have had our upbringing into, the surrounding that have our parenting that have made our minds conditioned this way. Why females are asked to be quiet and tolerate things, that you have to be patient. Why patient? Why can't you speak up? Why can't you fight for your right? This has never been taught to females. We are just taught to be cool, calm, patient, and non-reactive and all that stuff. And what are male taught to? I mean, they are male, they can do anything. I believe along with this that for going further generations, I think it is, I take it as a mother that it is our responsibility as mothers that we teach our son to respect our women. Yeah, women, maybe women who are their school classmates today. Yeah, the girls in the colony that they go to play around, or the girls in our family, the cousins and sisters and all. So I think along with this, it is very important that we teach our son to respect our women. Only then I think we can have very healthy psychological youth in the years to come. But till now, what has happened, we have to mend what has ruined and what has torn. So it is the only way that we be careful about ourselves and just understand what are the scenario going around us and how can we help us. Next screen, please. Well, coming to the purpose, as we have seen the impact of this act. Now, coming to the purpose, why this act was made. Well, this act was made for the protection of women against sexual harassment at workplace and for the prevention and redressal of complaints of sexual harassment. Now, this definition says it has basically three parts into it. Okay. First, the point to be noted kind of thing is protection of women. This act talks about the sexual harassment done against women, only women. Okay. So, second thing, harassment at workplace. See, this act does not talk about the harassment happening at the home, which we call domestic violence or domestic harassment or something like that. This is purely for the working women, and this applies only on workplace harassment. Okay. And the third part is that how to deal with it, the redressal part of the complaint of sexual harassment. So this talks about these three pillars of sexual harassment. Next, please. Now, why do we need to undergo the training? Why do organizations do it? If you are working as HR in your organization, you must be doing this kind of trainings. Or if you are a business owner or higher management, then you should be concerned about this, that why do we do these kind of trainings? So first is you do these kind of training, or maybe if you are an employee and you must talk to the management or HR that why is this kind of training not done, and if they are doing it, thank them. It is good that they are doing it for you. So they do it because first it's a legal mandate. Second is that the employees should have the understanding of the act, the organization culture, and the social impact, as I said earlier. The brand image, of course, there are certain factors that makes a company a dream company. There are certain factors why employees want to work into it. Okay. And then ending of myth. Yes, this is something very important which we are now going to talk about. There are so many myths related to Posh that we will be clearing today. Okay. And then we'll move forward with the concept of Posh. Next, please. Well, if you're a management owner or HR person or employees, of course, and you see or you hear that Posh is a women-centric thing, and why do men need to be into this program? Of course, here today we have the ladies sitting here, but if you do this kind of program, or if you be a part of this kind of program, make sure you have men also along with you. Of course, the first and foremost reason for this is whom are you saving yourself against? Of course, men. So men should know what are their limitations. Okay. So actually, there are three reasons why men should also be there. So first is that they should know their limitations, their expected set of behavior. Second is if they see something happening around as a whistleblower, they can help the employee to raise their voice, and they can help a female to actually make a complaint and help herself. Okay. And the third reason, and most important reason, which I would like to bring under the notice, that of course it is a women-centric act, and it safeguards women. But on the other side, it is a two-edged sword, because it has been seen that many women use this, or I should say misuse this, against men by putting false complaints and just to satisfy their own personal vendetta. So this is also the act talks about, and they safeguard men in this case and penalized women for, writing a false complaint and alleging a man for their innocence who has actually not done anything. So these are the three things why men also should be there. Okay, next screen, please. Now, this is of prime importance. Let us clear the myth and the reality about POSH. Okay. Now, it is a women-oriented law. Well, when we move forward in this law, you will get to realize that it is though a women-centric, but it is not a feminist kind of law. It talks about the gender sensitivity. It actually talks about the equality on the workplace. Okay. Now, it is said that POSH awareness and IC committees are made only where there are 10 or more numbers. So only the women who are working into the organization where there are 10 or more employees, only their POSH is applicable. No, it is not true. POSH is on every woman and every person and on every establishment, whether it is organized sector or unorganized sector, whether it has 10 employees or less than 10 employees. Yeah. Now, the third thing to say is that it does not apply if the employees are male or female. Okay. Now, I get to know certain queries that, okay, we need to do POSH awareness program, fine. Then we just need to have, a females badge, or we have only males, we don't have females. Why do we need to sit here and all? So I think this is not correct. POSH is important for males and females both to sit around. Okay. Now it applies only when the woman is sexually harassed by a man. Now this is something very important for you to know. It is not necessary that the harassment is done by men alone. Yeah. If the the harassment is gender specific, even it is done by a female, it comes under POSH. It's just that the harassed person, the victim should be a woman. The harasser can be anybody of any gender. Okay. Now, it applies when the sexual harassment happens at office premises. See, the office premises is not mandatory these days because with the advent of work from home and all, office premises has become a very, very big concept and it has moved to home as well on the virtual platform. So anywhere, if you are working and the person who has harassed you, you have a working relationship with the person, that comes under POSH. Okay, that comes under the purview of POSH. Now, the POSH trainer should be from a legal background, not at all. POSH, IC committees and the POSH trainers and all do not entertain legal people over there. Okay. The external member in the internal committee should be a woman. No, preferably should be a woman, but if not, men would also do. Okay. The external member in the internal committee must be from NGO. No, it is not like that. So it's just that the person should be connected with the women empowerment issues and should have the sound knowledge of POSH and acts and all, and not need to be from the NGO. Next screen, please. Now, there is something that you should understand. Okay. Now, first, if you are being asked for a coffee or just receive a hi on a mobile, or you're asked about, you are dealing with some past affair, or you are just asked for a dinner or a date by some men, it is not harassment. Okay. It is not harassment and you cannot file a complaint for this. Simple. Now, harassment starts after you say no and the person keeps on pinching you. Okay. Or maybe the way you don't like it, only then it becomes a harassment. Okay. Just pinging a hi in a friendly manner or just asking for dinner date coffee, it is not harassment. So please, if you don't like somebody's invite or offer, just say them, just let them know that you don't like it and it is not the welcomed action. Okay. You straight away need not go and file a POSH. So please be prudent enough to identify whether it is actually a harassment or just a friendly offer. If you don't like, and if the things keep on continuing after you say no, then you definitely go and file a complaint and get the redressal part. Okay. Next screen, please. Now you can move to next. We have already discussed the objectives. Thank you. Now, this is a small scenario, and this will give you a very broad picture of Bosch. Okay, so this is an example. Now, there is an organization wherein Mr. Manish and Natasha are working, and Manish is the manager on Natasha. Yeah, Natasha is the direct reporter to Manish. Now, what happens one day that Manish and Natasha both were sitting in the corridor on a sofa, and Manish just told to Natasha that Natasha, your nail paint is really beautiful. And he just tried to hold her hand, to which Natasha just repelled and she got up and moved. Now, do you think she can file a posh complaint? Can you please unmute your chats and just let me know? Can she file a complaint, a posh complaint? What do you think as per your existing knowledge on this instance? Please unmute yourself and can you please tell yes or no or something? What do you feel about it? Yeah, anybody there? Yeah, anybody would like to respond to this? Is this a posh case? Can she go and file it? Yeah. All right. Let me tell you the answer. Yes, this can be a posh case because Natasha found it really uncomfortable, and that is why she can go. And that had a sexual connotation into it. All right. So, can we have the next screen, please? All right. Now, this is again a tricky question. Now, these colleagues had one of them had a birthday party, and he threw a birthday party in the evening, and some 4 or 5 colleagues went to his home and had the party, enjoyed the party over there. Now, in this, one of the male employee talked to one of the female employee. He started hugging her and tried to kiss her, which she didn't like because she was not in that kind of gelling relationship, and she just repelled it, and she took the auto and went home. She didn't like it. So can she file a posh in this case? Well, can anybody answer to this? Would anybody like to answer this?
Ma'am, I guess she can because obviously this is something she didn't like. And
Okay.
yeah.
Well, okay. So now let me
Like what she
clarify.
can
Yes, please.
because she might be not feeling good and not comfortable with the situation.
So she can file, right? Well, in this case, she actually cannot file. The reason behind this is that this was not the official purpose. This was a private party. Okay, so to come a case under POSH, there are certain conditions which we will discuss now. Here, these conditions do not get satisfied, and this was not an office party. POSH takes care of only the incidences that happen during work or on work purpose. Okay, personal parties and personal relationships and reasons do not justify harassment for Posh. Okay, so in this case, she cannot. Okay, please next move to the next slide. Now, here we talk about the genesis. How did the Posh came into being? Okay, so next slide, please. What all made the Posh happen? Okay, now since 1983 and 2013, and then again 2013, there have been few cases which we all have heard of. Yeah, first the Mathura rape case. If you want to know more about it, you can Google them down and you will really get to know what all happened, what is happening with women since so many years. Okay. Now, in 83, it was Mathura rape case. And then in 2013, there was a criminal law of the Act 2013 that happened because of the Nirbhaya case. Yeah. So this also came into being, which deals with the sexual harassment against women. Hmm? And then in 2013, last came the sexual harassment of women at workplace, this POSH Act in 2013, which was the outcome of Vishakha case. Now, what is Vishakha? So next screen, please. See, whenever you talk about, whenever you'll get to know about, you discuss about the POSH Act. This is something which cannot be left over, because this Bhavri Devi case, I am not sure whether you've heard of it before or not, but this case is the birth, the genesis of POSH Act. Okay. Now, let me brief you about who Bhavri Devi was. Okay. Now, Bhavri Devi was a lady in Rajasthan, and she was living in the village Bateri. Okay. So she was working for the women welfare and child welfare kind of things. So one day she tried to stop child marriage and marriage of a 8 months old kid, little girl, baby girl. Okay. Now she was able to stop that, but the people from that village, the panchayat of that village, they were pretty renowned people, and they really got offended that how can she stop this kind of family ritual in their family. So they all got annoyed, and they took action against her. And what was the action? That they gang raped her in front of her husband. So then after this incident happened, the Vishakha filed a PIL against the Supreme Court of India to favor Bhamri Devi case. Okay. And after some time, there were some Vishakha guidelines that were introduced by the Supreme Court. Can we please move to the next slide? So these guidelines were about the sexual harassment of women. These laid some rules, because it was not the act by that time. So before that, they were just the ground rules that were to be followed and to safeguard women at the workplace, right? So here the Supreme Court laid all the rules and guidelines on the organization at the workplace, that how the women should be protected from sexual harassment. Now, finally, this Vishakha PIL was filed, and they won the case of Bhamri Devi, and then this act came into being. Okay, can we move to next slide? So this is how, when it was passed by the Justice Verma Committee, and the Parliament enacted on the sexual harassment of women at workplace, and when it was not just guidelines, it was then a law, an act which was effective in the December 2013. Next, please. Now, this is how the step-by-step transition of POSH Act. So first came the case of Bhamri Devi, then came Vishakha guidelines, and those guidelines were then enacted upon as the act, and then came the act, the POSH Act. Next, please. So this is December 9, 2013. So this is a very, very recent law, if you see. Yeah. So in December 2009, the effective date of POSH Act and the POSH rules, and it is managed by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, or by the Government of India. So this is all about the genesis of POSH, and I think this is today's purpose of the seminar. So we are done over here for today, and in the next session we will talk about the technical aspect of POSH. Yeah, what all constitute POSH, and what is the sexual harassment, and what all how do we identify how sexual harassment goes. So Priya, we are done here for the session today. So I think you can take over the program.
Yeah,
Here.
thank you.
And
you so much.
thank you for you all for the patient hearing of this program. I hope this laid a background. Of course, it is just like the tip of the iceberg when we talk about POSH, but it's a beginning, and I think I should keep it this much today. It's a lot more come, and a lot more technical is coming on the way. So this is about the genesis and the purpose why we talk about POSH. So that's all from my side today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this enlightening session. And yes, sexual harassment remains a serious and persuasive problem, and everyone should be able to have respect opportunity at work and to live healthy, secure, and empowered lives. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, and thank you everyone for being a part of this session. And we hope to see you in our next session, which is on 27th. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to all.
Bye, Adhika. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It
all.
was indeed a very enriching session, Neha. I would personally like to say one thing, that we as a women are still under lots of social taboos of saying yes and no towards things. And trust me, sometimes we even don't know that this is a situation wherein we can say no.
Exactly.
So this kind of seminar is so important to absolutely make us understand that there are situations where no means no, and it's a full-fledged statement.
Exactly.
And we have to be bold enough to understand what is happening right and what is happening wrong. During in a lot of my sessions also, Neha, I would like to tell, there are very short examples I generally give, and I quote with few organizations which I know. And I always say that the biggest fault is ours, that we couldn't able to raise our pitch. It is something which is I can't blame someone else of harassing me if I don't have the capacity to say or to raise my voice against that. So and also we have to be very protective. We have to be protective for our own self and our own security. And being the female segment of the society, we have to take that strong steps. And if we can able to take step by step, other people who are associated with us will get that kind of strength and they can move on. So indeed a very nice session. Thank you so much for giving us this particular platform to understand what are the things in the basic level. And trust me, I would say that one of the sessions which should be watched by everyone who is associated with us in any format, and they can able to learn as many as things they can. So I'm really greatly looking forward with the other two sessions also. And thank you for enhancing our knowledge on the same. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure. I could help somebody. Bye. All right.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
ma'am. Take care.